second, gets it spinning in the air, the throw to first in time. Folks, that is the play of the year. Wow. Way out of here. Way back. One of the longest home runs we've ever seen. You can forget this one.
Be sure to tune in for the next exciting edition of Indians Baseball. Don't miss a play.
Welcome to Extra Innings on your home for Cleveland Indians Baseball. WTAM 1100.
Field, welcome to Extra Innings. However, it is not a celebration tonight as the Indians were clobbered but good. 15-9 the final score, and the lowly Milwaukee Brewers of the National League Central Division wind up taking 2 out of 3 from the Tribe. This is the last place club over there that is 10 games out of first place going into today's play in the National League Central. And they, for some reason, they play the Indians tough. It doesn't matter how good or not as good the one team is or the other, but the Indians, of course, here in the 90s have been one of the dominant teams in Major League Baseball, but for some unexplainable reason, the Milwaukee Brewers have played the Tribe tough, and especially tonight. Bartolo Colon, we got to get better pitching. It's that simple. And games like this, again, enhance the argument that John Hart's got to go out and get an ace. There's just no substitute for the talent and the presence of an ace. And, again, it makes us feel that we're not going to win the World Series and may not even get to it unless we can get that ace, or certainly the starting pitchers have got to throw a lot better and take us deeper into the game, or this bullpen's going to be burned out. As Grover said in the postgame show, Stevens had to give the manager some ugly innings tonight. First of all, let's get something straight right off the get-go here before I name the Carter Lumber player of the game. I knew we were going to lose this game. We were destined to lose this game. When I came out of the press dining room, I usually go in there about 6:15, 20 after or so. And then I come back out of the press room and get ready for the game to score and note the game. About 5 minutes to 7, right at 7 o'clock, usually, right before. When I saw that John Cooper was throwing out the first pitch wearing a Cleveland Indians hat, I knew we were in big, big trouble. You okay? Yeah. Listen to this. Thanks a lot, Coop. Dadgummit. We're going to have a good football team this year. I guess he went in there to Tom Hamilton and did Tom and Davey interviewed him a little bit, which is fine. Then Cooper thought he was doing the guys a favor and said, hey, I'll bring in one of the women's basketball players and the women's basketball coach. She's with us. Ooh, boy. Ooh. Stop the game on the field. Cooper's going to provide us the women's basketball coach at OSU. Nothing against her, but come on, yeah. Then to make things worse, listen to this. I was informed yesterday that I would not have access to broadcast booth number 7, where I'm speaking to you from right now, because I thought the Japanese television network was going to use this booth because Hideo Nomo was throwing for the Brewers, and they were going to tape the game or feed it live. I don't know what time in the morning it is right now in Osaka, but whatever. And that wasn't the case. The reason that I was being asked to vacate broadcast booth number 7 was because the ball club invited John Cooper and his entourage to have usage of broadcast booth number 7. Oh, stop that music, for God's sakes. Unbelievable. Talk about rubbing salt into the wound. John Cooper was sitting in my chair in broadcast booth number 7. I knew we were going to lose. We were destined to lose. How could we not lose? Dadgummit. And him wearing that Indians hat made me want to puke. I knew we were in big trouble. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got to sit in the same chair with that non-champion. Unbelievable. Dan, get rid of that chair. Get rid of that chair. Take that chair and get it out of broadcast booth number 7. I don't want to ever see that chair again. You hear me? Get rid of it. Get it out of here. No. John Cooper is why we lost this game tonight. You're going to have a good football team this year, dadgummit. Good football team. I'll never be the same. Talk about insult to injury. Unbelievable. Well, they were here on their caravan. You know, they were bopping all over the state. And then here, listen to this. This is a good one for you. Here's a good. So I'm in the press box. I can't be in broadcast booth 7 scoring the game and noting the game, right? I'm in the press box. He's sitting in my chair. I can see him from the angle. And then, after the Brewers hit in the top of the first inning, him and his entourage disappeared. They didn't even stick around to watch the Indians hit. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. Didn't even stick around to watch the Indians hit and take their raps. One of the cameramen here from the television crew next door. That's why we lost the game. Tell it like it is. Dadgummit's the fault. That's the reason. Don't call up and blame this one on Grover. Blame it on your hero down at Columbus, who gets first and goal from the 1-yard line and gives it to his fullback 4 plays in a row right up the middle. I've said it 1,000,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000,001 times. As long as dadgummit John Cooper remains the head football coach at the Ohio State University, they will never, ever, ever win a national championship. And if he comes to any more Indians games, there's no way we're going to win the World Series. No way. Especially if he's wearing an Indians hat, for God's sakes. All right. We're going to take it till 1 in the morning. We are just absolutely mobbed and loaded with commercials because this show is totally sold out and over the limit, is what they tell me. But our telephone number is 216-578-1100. You can use the contest line, which is 578-1111. The long-distance toll-free is 1-888-723-WTAM. My job right now to tell you the Carter Lumber player of the game. I wish I could give it to an Indian, but no such luck tonight. Thanks to you-know-who in Columbus. Dave Nilsson, who is really quite a story. He's Australian-born, and he's talking about taking next year off so he can represent his country in the Summer Olympic Games. That's really amazing. He hit 2 big home runs for them that were very significant. That big 4th inning, and then a 3-run shot in the 6th. So we have to name Dave Nilsson as the Carter Lumber player of the game.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right center. Justice back at the wall. This ball is gone. A 3-run homer for Dave Nilsson to right center. His 2nd home run tonight.
News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Extra Innings is brought to you by PublicAutoInfo.com. The best way to sell or buy a used car. That's PublicAutoInfo.com.
WTAM 1100.
Time for 2020 sports. That means WTAM 1100 sports director Mike Snyder. No wonder we lost tonight. Cooper threw out the first pitch wearing an Indians hat.
Well, you know, I heard you go into that, and, I heard him near the end of the last season on a station, I think it might have been in Columbus, where he had said he thought that the Buckeyes were going to go all the way or would have gone all the way, except for there's a Cleveland talk show host who had for years said that he would never, ever, 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 ever win a national championship, but that Cleveland talk show host hopped on the Ohio State bandwagon 2 weeks before the Michigan State game.
I lost my way. I was revisited by and then showing the light. And I came back. Well, you know the reason I did that, because that obnoxious Californian called me up on the show and was cheering for UCLA.
All right.
And it was my pride in the state of Ohio rather than him.
I see.
I'd be an Ohio State foot. Listen, wait a minute. You brought this up. Now, wait a minute.
I see.
You know how much. Wait a minute. You know how much.
I don't want to get you mad, Bruce. I'm just teasing you.
It doesn't matter. This has to be clarified.
Well, it's the truth, though.
This has to be clarified.
Okay.
Know how much I supported O'Brien and that basketball team at Ohio State.
Yes, you did.
I would show the same support for the football program if indeed they got Cooper out of there like they should have years ago.
Okay.
When they had that president that still thought that bow ties were in fashion.
All right.
They're never, ever going to win a national championship with him. And then, to make matters worse, they kicked me out of Broadcast Booth 7 so he can come in here.
Isn't that something?
Stays for a half an inning, doesn't even wait to watch the Indians take their raps in the bottom of the first, and he sat in my chair. My chair.
He sat in that chair. Your monitor.
I had Dan remove that chair immediately. I'll never sit in that chair again. I had him tag it.
You know, it was kind of a pukey night down there tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
in more ways than one. I mean, Dave Stevens even vomited behind the mound.
Well, you know what happened?
Yeah, he swallowed
some tobacco chew of all things.
Yeah.
And then coughed it up.
Actually, the best part of the night was Hargrove talking about that. And then, did you hear Tom's reaction after that? About that? Yeah, we were talking about it. It was kind of funny.
What did he say?
Well, here's what happened.
My memory.
All right. Here's what happened. This is Hargrove. If you're wondering, Dave Stevens did take ill.
I think he's got to chew the back end. I think one went down, the wrong pipe, and he kind of tossed his cookies there for a little bit. Yeah, he did. I was watching him, and I turned to Phil, and I said, "Did he just puke?" Yeah, he did, right behind the mound.
And then this is beautiful, Bruce. This was Tom right after that.
Alrighty.
Herb score invitation.
Oh,
Very
boy.
good.
So it was that kind of night tonight at the old ball yard. The Milwaukee Brewers with a 6-run fourth inning, and they go on and beat the Tribe 15-9. There was a point of the game where things were looking good. In fact, going in to that fourth inning, the Tribe had a 3-1 lead thanks to Richie Sexton's 3-run homer. But Dave Nilsson smacked a solo shot off Bartolo. Jeff Jenkins later hit a 3-run blast. Mark Loretta a 2-run shot, and the Brewers were on their way to a victory. The Indians did battle back a bit. Jacob Cruz and Jeff Manto each hit home runs, but Milwaukee goes on to win it by a score of 15-9. An awful night for Cologne. Indians on to Cincinnati, open a 3-game series against the Reds tomorrow night. Just one other game in baseball today. Sterling Hitchcock outdueled Gil Heredia to pitch San Diego to a 2-1 win over Oakland. Albert Bell may be fined for his confrontation with Orioles manager Ray Miller. Orioles say they will deal with the matter internally. Basketball, the WNBA season got started tonight. The New York Liberty beat the Cleveland Rockers 87-60. A final just in the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 2. Dallas beat Buffalo 4-2. That evens that series at 1 game apiece. Mike Snyder, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
The home of Cleveland Indians baseball. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio, WTAM 1100 Cleveland.
Clinton says the job's not quite over yet in Yugoslavia. Good evening, I'm Carmen Angelo, and this is the 1130 report on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Your Channel 3 weather. Here's David Rogers.
Well, it looks like more muggy weather tonight across northeastern Ohio. Partly cloudy sky. Chance for some isolated storms. Overnight lows right around 71.
Right now, 76 and partly cloudy at your official weather station, News Radio, WTAM 1100. 79 days of NATO bombing are now in the books, and the peacekeepers have their work cut out for them. In a national address tonight from the Oval Office, President Clinton said the job in Kosovo is far from finished.
We must get the Kosovar refugees home safely. Minefields will have to be cleared. Homes destroyed by Serb forces will have to be rebuilt. Homeless people in need of food and medicine will have to get them. The fate of the missing will have to be determined. The Kosovar Liberation Army will have to demilitarize as it has agreed to do. And we in the peacekeeping force will have to ensure that Kosovo is a safe place to live for all its citizens.
NATO's governing council has formally given the order for the international peacekeeping force to now move into Kosovo. Advanced units are expected to move into the province tomorrow on the heels of withdrawing Serbian forces. Cleveland police say they still haven't identified any suspects in Monday's fatal beating of a woman inside her downtown Cleveland office, but Police Chief Marty Flesk says they are talking to people who know the Bond Court building and the temporary employment agency that Susan Locke managed. The burning hot weather has created the longest ozone action alert ever, and environmental experts have extended it through tomorrow. So once again, don't fill up your buggies or grill out until 7 o'clock in the evening. And relief now in sight for Cleveland residents. The city's pools will open early. The Tromba, League Park, Meyer, Halloran, and Lincoln pools open tomorrow. The city hopes this will stop people from illegally breaking open fire hydrants to stay cool. And as you heard right here tonight on The Big One, the Tribe a 15-9 loser to the Brew Crew. I'm Carmen Angelo on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Bulletins at 1. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
This is Bill Wills. Tomorrow morning will help you plan your weekend.
I'm John Webster. School funding. Who's running things? Not the kids.
I'm Casey Coleman. Grover joins us.
5 to 9 on WTAM 1100.
Extra Innings with Bruce Drennan on The Big One. News Radio WTAM 1100.
Okay, let's dive right into the calls. Dana from a car phone, you're on the air. Hi. Hello, Dana.
You there?
Yes, I'm here. Are you there?
Yes. Hey, you're talking about John Cooper. You ought to talk about Mike Hargrove. Any fan could have managed that team better tonight than Mike Hargrove did. I mean, in the 8th inning or 9th inning, when they had 2 men on and 2 guys on, it called the pitch, put the guy on first base. You had 1 out. And what's he do? He brings his infield up. I mean, you turn the guy from a 300 hitter into a 500 hitter. I mean, Mike Hargrove, we lost the World Series because the jerk didn't know how to lay down a bunt, and then you do that tonight. I think he's the lousiest manager in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody could manage the Cleveland Indians in 95, 96, or 97.
Right. Let me ask you a question right off the top of your head. Who's the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, sir?
Buck Showalter.
Who's the manager of the Florida Marlins?
He's terrible.
Before you call up and make generality statements about the entire major leagues, know what the heck you're talking about, okay? You never call up when you never call up when the Indians win. The only time you call up and cry is when they lose. And Grover's a stupid buffoon. He was a .291 lifetime hitter in the major leagues. You probably never even played Little League or wore a jock strap in your life, but you know much more than Mike Hargrove. Good night, sir. Have a nice life. Have a nice life. John from a car phone. You're on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Bruce. How you doing? Hey, we love you, Bruce. We're on our way back to Columbus.
Oh, give my regards to Coop.
Hey, I thought John Cooper was going to throw up when he got off the mound.
You know, listen, my colleagues in Columbus don't. You know what? You know that there was a radio station. This was, it wasn't too far back. About 2 months ago, I got a call. Our switchboard operator was getting calls at WTAM 1100 from people in Columbus saying that there was a radio station down there that they were bum rapping the heck out of me, saying I don't know anything about sports because I bum rap Cooper.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know what? I called up the radio station and I volunteered to go on their show. I volunteered the hosts that were bum rapping me to be on my show. I had a full show that night, 7 to 11. They wouldn't let me on their show, and they refused to come on my show. So that just tells you what I've been saying to you, that my colleagues in the media in Columbus, it's a minor league city. Let's face it. They don't have the guts to tell it like it is, like we do in the major leagues. And the reason And the reason they don't have the guts is because they're afraid that Ohio State's PR department, the sports information department, will not invite them to luncheons and banquets that Cooper's attending, and they won't be able to have access to Cooper to interview him and tell him how great he is. Who cares about not being invited to a lunch in Columbus where they'll give you a choice of either chicken Kiev or Salisbury steak?
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Cooper had it all planned out, though, for that Studio 7.
Yeah?
He knew he was kicking you out of that booth.
He's not that smart.
You don't think so, huh?
Dadgummit? Anybody that says dadgummit can't possibly be that intelligent.
Well, we love you, Bruce.
I love you, too. Drive carefully now.
Hey, we'll talk to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, should I go to Snyder? He is? He's ready? Well, maybe. See, unlike Trevisano, I'm going to give it to him on time. It's exactly 20 minutes before 12 midnight. I'm in a bad mood tonight.
Well, you made it sound like you were going to the Ayatollah.
Well,
should I go to Snyder?
Channel 3.
I'm not going to throw it up anymore that you jumped on Cooper's bandwagon. I wouldn't do that to you.
Dadgummit, Channel 3, let me deliver with the weather.
I would never do that to you.
Let me deliver with the weather before it's 19 minutes to. I deliver. It's exactly 20 minutes before 12 midnight. Partly cloudy, isolated thunderstorms. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Tomorrow, partly sunny, scattered thunderstorms, high of 88. It's 76 degrees. From WTAM 1100, and here's our sports director, Mike Snyder, who's a big John Cooper fan.
That's right, dadgummit. Yes, I am.
He loves the ingenuity and the creativity of the offensive genius of Cooper, who gives the ball to the fullback first and goal 4 plays in a row down there by the goal line.
Yeah, I know. Well, Coop was in town, and
that's why we lost this game tonight.
Yeah.
What a sickening sight, seeing him wearing an Indians hat. I said, oh, my God. We're destined to lose.
Oh, geez. Well, things didn't look good for a while at Jacobs Field tonight.
Home with Robbie running. The 2-0 pitch swung on and belted to deep left. Away, back, gone to the bleachers. And Richie Sexton with his 3rd home run in 2 nights. The kid is back. 3-1 Tribe.
Boy, it did look good at that point for the Tribe, but Bartolo Colon turned around in the next inning, was absolutely awful as he served up 3 home runs to the Brewers, who scored 6 times in the 4th, and Milwaukee went on to win it by a score of 15-9. So the Indians dropped 2 of 3 games to the Brewers. Tribe on its way now to Cincinnati to open a 3-game series against the Reds tomorrow night. Consider this, the Indians are 37-20. Best record in all of baseball, yet their team earned run average now is skied to 4.80. Strange night in baseball, just one other game. San Diego, a winner over Oakland by a score of 2-1. Sterling Hitchcock was outstanding. The lefty ups his record now to 4-5. NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Must-win situation for Dallas. They got the job done, beating Buffalo 4-2. That series now tied at 1-1. Opening night in the WNBA, the New York Liberty beat the Cleveland Rockers 87-60. Prosecutors in Bloomington, Indiana are trying to determine whether to charge Indiana basketball coach Bob Knight. There's an allegation that he choked a man who accused him of making a racist remark while having dinner at a restaurant near Bloomington. And former heavyweight boxer Tex Cobb has won an $8.5 million judgment from a federal court jury. He had challenged a Sports Illustrated article that said he helped fix a fight. Mike Snyder, News Radio WTAM 1100.
Well, you've been hearing me run my mouth about Cooper, but now let me run my mouth about the Springfield Grill in Boardman, Ohio. You know, with Father's Day coming up, what an ideal occasion to give them a call and request a reservation for dinner for your family. Why? Because the atmosphere is fantastic. I mean, it's a club setting. There's a gigantic bison mounted on one of the walls, deer, sculptures, paintings, fireplace, very cozy. Another reason the service is great, but most importantly, the food. The portions of the food are enormous. They've got the biggest baked potato you ever eat in your life. Steaks, enormous, cooked to perfection, no matter how you like them. I like a medium rare, big, thick steaks, perfectly cooked. And then if you're a seafood eater, you'll think that you're eating right on the beach in the Caribbean. Citrus shrimp kebabs and baked grouper with lime melon and hearts of palm. Great appetizers, great dessert list, great wine list. You can't beat it. I highly recommend the Springfield Grill in Boardman, Ohio. Now, here's the telephone number. Give them a call to make a reservation for Father's Day. 330-726-0895. Or why don't you pay them a visit on their website? You can easily do that at www.springfields.com. The Springfield Grill, only place to be, part of the Springfield Restaurant Group since 1979.
Hi, this is Carmen Policy, and you're listening to the official home of the Cleveland Browns fans, WTAM 1100.
Extra Innings with Bruce Drennan on the Big One. News Radio WTAM 1100.
All right, here, Jerry, get that spot. There's a spot right here on the chair. Here, don't spray that stuff on me. Jerry J is here with the chair that Cooper sat in that used to be my chair. What is this you're using? Bathmate? Acid-free washroom cleaner. What is that now? Wait a minute. Hold on now. What is that word? Limpador. That's in Spanish, you idiot. He's got this chemical. Here, there's a spot right there. What is that? Oh, God. I don't want to know. Get rid of those germs. Yeah. Sterilize that whole chair, I'm telling you. See, there's two levels in these broadcast booths. I watch the game from the lower level. I do the show from the upper level. And we're on the lower level, and Jerry is applying this cleansing material to this chair that Cooper sat in so it's not contaminated. Don't spray that stuff on me. Unbelievable. I'm clean. I take a shower every day. Sometimes twice if I play golf. All right, now how am I going to get back up there? Here. I'm telling you, I don't want that chair in here, even though you've cleansed it. I want that chair out of here. We're going to Cincinnati over the... Hold on here. Don't knock over my drink. Iced tea, it's not booze. Oh, that's my drink. Yeah, all right. Fix me up here. I want that chair. I don't care what you sterilized it with. Get it out of here. Just throw it over. I don't want it here. All right. Throw it out the window. Throw it out the door. You know why you can't do that? Because you might hit one of the workers. And they are so outstanding here at Jacobs Field. This work crew, I mean, the only people that are left here are people that work, Jay, and they do such a fabulous job, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We're here after every game, and these workers are so fabulous. They use these blowers and vacuum cleaners to go through the entire Jacobs Field, inside and out, to make this place immaculate for you. And I'd throw this darn chair out the window if I didn't have fear of hitting one of those great workers of the Cleveland. And there's nobody out there. It'd be my luck if we threw it out and somebody would all of a sudden appear. That would be my luck. Cooper probably's got somebody planted down there to intentionally take the hit so then he could sue me. And Clear Channel Communications. I don't trust anybody, especially him. All right, it's exactly 10 minutes before 12 midnight, so let me deliver again the Channel 3 forecast. Seems like I just did that. Partly cloudy, isolated thunderstorms, low of 71, partly sunny. I'm not in a good mood tonight. Scattered thunderstorms tomorrow, high of 88, and right now I've got 76 degrees from the big one, WTAM 1100. Let's go to the phone lines. Ann from Cleveland Heights. Hi, Ann.
I'm not in a good mood either, Bruce.
It
hit me. We just don't have the consistent pitching from the starters to the bullpen to win the World Series and maybe not even to get there. That's fact.
I think we have them, Ann. I think we have them in the bullpen. The first portion of what you said is absolutely true, and I agree with it. The starters, we've got to get it. Mr. Hart, you've got to get us an ace.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. And the other thing that really teed me off tonight, I know Bart and Jared are young, 22, 23, but it's at a time that I'm tired of them falling apart. If I give up a 3-run homer, damn it, I'm going to get back in there and I want to get this guy out. They just fall apart. And it's like, be a man. And I'm just tired of it. You see this consistently. They fall apart when they give up a big home run. Why can't they get back up on their horse, have enough pride, and say, I'm going to get this guy out?
Right. Now, every ace pitcher, like hitters in the majors, go into slumps. I mean, Schilling has had 2 bad performances in a row. Martinez got rocked last night for Boston. Sandy Koufax never went undefeated. Steve Carlton never went undefeated. Don Drysdale and Bob Gibson never went undefeated. But the point is, the ace pitchers are by far more consistent with good performances than the wannabes.
Absolutely. And on a day in and day out basis, when the Indians play, do you feel comfortable with any of our 5 starters knowing that they will win a game that evening? How comfortable can you give me? 90%, 80%? I can't.
I'm just thinking, with the kids, absolutely not. Jarrett Wright and Cologne just are not there yet. They show us flashes. I mean, I really loved what Jarrett Wright showed last night, particularly after 4 atrocious outings and what he went through with the humiliation of Budick and all. But even Nagy and Burba, I mean, those guys, I like both of them very much, but they are 3-hole and 4-hole starters.
Absolutely.
They're not number ones, and the kids are not yet number ones.
And we just can't beat people to death. It's impossible. Tonight the offense came up with 8 to 9 runs after leaving the bases loaded in the first inning. We just can't do it that way. And I just don't see a World Series win in sight this year. I'm going to still be a Tribe fan and root for them, but not with this kind of pitching. It just does not work hard.
Right. I know what you mean. All right, Ann, thank you very much, dear.
Good night.
You have a good one. Oh, boy, this ought to be good. Just in time. Grover and the team are probably on the team bus heading to Hopkins. They're flying to Cincinnati tonight, and they all monitor the show. Robbie Alomar, I understand, is a very devout listener to the Drennan show and Extra Innings here on WTAM 1100, flagship home of Tribe Baseball. So let's get it over with. Here's Mark from Lyndhurst.
Oh, you think they're listening right now?
A lot of the most of the team does. I've learned that most of the team does, and by the way, do you know that your name was brought up by Hargrove the other day?
Get out of here.
Honest to God. Honest to God.
Oh, did he really?
Yes, he did.
Well,
Honest to God, it was at the end of the press conference, and he referred to. I asked him a question. I forget what it was, Mark, but afterward he gave me an answer, and then he said, and then he looked at me again. He broke up the press conference. He was walking away, and then he says, I don't know if your buddy Mark from Lyndhurst would agree with that. And then he used an expletive, which I can't hear.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, anytime you would like my assistance, I'd be very happy to come down there and coach a couple games if you're looking for some wins.
Coach, it's called managing in baseball.
Well, I don't know what you would call what he does, but here's a couple questions I have for you. How much does Charles Nagy make?
His new contract, I don't know. What did he get? $4 or $5 million a year? I'm just guessing. Don't quote me, but I think it's in that range.
Several million. This is point number 1. He's a member of the team. Though he doesn't pitch every game. Most of the pitchers are there for every game.
What?
Would you agree with that?
What are you talking about? He's a starting pitcher.
Right,
they go every 6th day. In a 5-man rotation, they go every 6th day. Don't you realize?
They do show up.
You don't know anything about baseball.
They do show up to the games, though, don't they? And their off days? They do show up.
They do, with the exception of the day before they pitch. Let's say it's a getaway day. Sometimes the clubs will send that starting pitcher ahead to a city to make sure that pitcher gets a full, good night's rest, rather than risking an extra inning game where he'd be suffering jet lag flying and not getting his proper rest. But yes.
Right. Well, point number 1 is, I want to thank Charlie for using my tax money to have his free dinner at the White House yesterday while he's making his $5 million. Thanks, Charlie. I appreciated that. Now let me move on
for God's sakes. Well, even though it's Clinton, wouldn't you go if it was the president, if you got an invitation to the White House? Come on.
This guy, to Bill Clinton, get out of here. But here's point number 2.
It doesn't matter. That it's not Clinton. It's the prestige of it all.
Well,
I mean, come on.
Here's point number 2. Jim Thome, Mike, if you're listening, this guy is clueless. I don't know if it's the fact that he's married now and he's not putting in the kind of work he needs to be putting in. Whatever his problem is, maybe it's Richie Sexson. And Richie and Thome...
Or maybe It's a nagging back problem.
Oh, come on.
Well, he has, and more importantly than that, let me say this. I am going public before anyone else on the air in Cleveland, and you mark my words on what I'm about to say. You are hearing this first. I'm no doctor, but I am very, very, very worried about Travis Fryman's back problem.
Well, let me tell you something.
You can go to the bank with them going to Cincinnati tomorrow night, and that's artificial turf down there, and Riverfront or Synergy, whatever they call it now. He will not see any action this weekend. You could go to the bank on that.
He won't see any action because Mike Hargrove likes to put the weakest lineup he can. He tries to weaken the lineup in any possible way.
You're going to have to come up with something better than that.
Well, here's what I'm going to come up with then. Jim Thome cannot be playing and batting in the position he usually puts him in, which is the number 5 hole. And I'd like to know how in the world...
He wasn't in the 5 hole today.
Yeah, but usually he is.
But he wasn't tonight.
Well, that's because Mike has been listening to the show, and I've been giving him some pointers. Here's
you
a
are
pointer.
Obnoxious.
Richie Sexson.
More than me.
Now, yeah, okay, the guy has a couple hits the last 2 games.
Oh my God! He had 2 big home runs plus a clutch single to keep the inning alive in the 10th to enable us to win. Okay, yeah, you just sloughed that off. You know. By the way, why didn't you call last night?
Do you see how the guy swings?
Answer my question. Why didn't you call last night?
I didn't call last night because the game ended too late. Here's the point.
You are so full of it.
Here's the point. Would you agree that his swing is very sick-looking?
I would say this about Richie Sexton's swing. I don't think he gets a full enough extension. He's very compact and within himself. I'd like to see him extend further. I think that can only come from continuously hitting in the major leagues. I'd like to optimistically think that he'll develop into a full reaching swing. Right now, I think he's too compact.
Hey, didn't you just a couple minutes ago make a crack on the Columbus media saying that they didn't have the guts, that they would support that Ohio State program no matter what went on? Isn't that kind of the pot calling the kettle black there?
You wouldn't even know about a kettle and a pot. You probably the only way you would know about a kettle and a pot is by listening to Mon Pot Kettle in the afternoons from 3 to 7.
Hey, Mike, let me tell you, I'm more than happy to come down to Cincinnati.
Hey, Grover, you mean?
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah, is that Ratto?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the seated conversation, but I do have the clip of Hargrove referring to our buddy from Lyndhurst here. Do you want me to play it?
Really? You do?
Snyder is hot on the ball. That's why he's a sports director.
God bless. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, I've got no problem with people voicing their opinion. I mean, that's what people have voices for. I don't. Now, your friend from Lyndhurst, he's a good one.
I don't know if you're...
See, I told you Grover referred to you. That was in a formal press conference here at Jacobs Field after I had asked him a question.
I'm very happy to see he's been.
You're famous because of the guy you hate. He made you famous.
I'm not saying I hate the man. I'm saying the guy doesn't know how to do some basic strategies, and I'm willing to help him out. I'm looking.
Well, listen, you said you didn't call last night because it was too late. We don't want you to stay up past your bedtime. Go tuck yourself into the covers and don't hesitate tucking the blanket right on down your throat so you suffocate to death.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this: How in the world? Look at this lineup, and don't make excuses for him. Their third baseman is a minor leaguer.
Well, Travis Fryman is a minor leaguer. Is that what you're saying? Hold the line. I got to go to the news. Hold the line. Mark from Lyndhurst, who's now famous because of Grover. We're going to continue this conversation. Unbelievable. We lost because of Cooper tonight. I don't care what you say.
The home of Cleveland Indians baseball. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio WTAM 1100 Cleveland.
Peacekeepers now taking care of business in Kosovo. Good morning, I'm Carmen Angelo, and this is the Midnight Report on News Radio WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Your Channel 3 weather, here's David Rogers.
Look for partly cloudy sky, warm and humid conditions, overnight lows right around 71.
Right now, 77 degrees with partly cloudy skies at your official weather station, News Radio WTAM 1100. We still got some very crucial business to take care of in Yugoslavia. Those words from President Clinton last night in a national address from the Oval Office. In-depth team coverage continues right now with ABC News.
Time to finish the job in the Balkans, says President Clinton. Now that a Kosovo peace plan is in place and Yugoslav forces are withdrawing, President Clinton says Kosovo Albanians will be able to return home.
They will know that Mr. Milosevic's army and paramilitary forces will be gone. His 10-year campaign of repression finished.
As for the people of Serbia, Mr. Clinton says they will get no help in rebuilding from the destruction left by NATO until Slobodan Milosevic is gone. NATO troops are to begin moving into Kosovo this weekend, and historian Douglas Brinkley of the Eisenhower Center agrees with the president that the mission is dangerous and people could be killed.
We are dispatching 50,000 NATO peacekeepers, including 7,000 Americans, and they're going to be taking a command post, a NATO command in the Balkans, and that's dangerous. Just think what happened when Ronald Reagan had American Marines in Lebanon in a kind of war zone area, and over 200 Americans were killed.
The president says the peacekeepers will not be sitting ducks.
We have made sure that the force going into Kosovo will have NATO command and control and rules of engagement set by NATO. It will have the means and the mandate to protect itself while doing its job.
Marcia Salter, ABC News.
Cleveland cops say no suspects yet in the brutal murder of Susan Locke, the 38-year-old who was killed while putting in some extra hours at the office late Monday night at the Bond Court office tower. Cleveland Police Chief Marty Flask says they're working their tails off to nab a killer here.
The men and women of our homicide unit are outstanding investigators, and I'm pretty confident in their ability to bring this crime to a successful conclusion.
Chief Flask says detectives are talking to a lot of people in this case, although he wouldn't say if they're focusing specifically on workers at the temp agency that Locke managed. A nasty car crash in Lake County late Thursday afternoon sent several people to the hospital. More now from our Tom Moore. It's team coverage.
A car reported to be driving erratically down Vine Street in Willoughby suddenly crashed into a work area where two men were working in a manhole taking pictures of the inside of a sewer. One of those workers, seriously injured, has been life-flighted to Cleveland. Two people in that car also hospitalized. Willoughby Police Chief Conrad Straub says that drugs or alcohol may have taken a part in all this. No charges have been filed yet in this accident. Willoughby police aren't even sure whether the man or the woman inside of this car was actually the driver. The man, they can't even talk to him right now. He's unconscious. In Willoughby, Tom Moore, News Radio WTAM 1100.
The ozone action alert that saddled us pretty much all week will continue today because it's going to be another hot, steamy one. As a result, Cleveland Mayor Mike White is opening up city pools earlier than expected. White planned to have them all up and running come the 21st, but
10 pools, which were scheduled to come online June 21st, will be online. A number more of those pools will come online every single day.
Some of the pools that will open up today: Tromba, League Park, Meyer, Halloran, and Lincoln. And just how hot has it been in the city of Hudson? Police there say it's not only hot enough to fry eggs on the road, it's been hot enough to buckle the road itself. 2 lanes on Route 8 southbound between 303 and Steele's Corners are shut down because the road buckled and jutted up 6 to 8 inches in some places, and police say it's very dangerous for motorcyclists and could seriously damage your car tires. Channel 3 weather is next. It's 12:04 at News Radio WTAM 1100.
2020 sports, an awful night for the Indians as the Milwaukee Brewers outscored the Tribe 15-9 to take the series 2-1. Brewers scored 6 runs in the 4th off of Bartolo Colon, turning a 3-1 deficit into a 7-3 lead. Dave Nilsson, 2 home runs on the night, 4 RBIs for the Brew Crew. Sexton, Cruz, and Mano each homered for the Tribe. Indians open a 3-game series in Cincinnati tonight. Stanley Cup finals are all even at 1 aside after Dallas beat Buffalo 4-2 in Game 2. Mike Snyder, News Radio WTAM 1100.
Cleveland's only live Doppler radar. Storm tracking that's 6 minutes faster.
On your official weather station.
News Radio
WTAM 1100.
And now your Channel 3 weather. Here's David Rogers.
Look for partly cloudy sky, humid conditions overnight. Temperatures getting down to 71 for the rest of the day on Friday. Partly sunny. Small chance for a scattered thunderstorm. Afternoon highs up around 90. Now out on the lake, winds will be out of the south at 10 to 15 knots. Waves about 1 to 2 feet and a water temperature off Cleveland of 62.
And right now, it's your official weather station. Partly cloudy skies, 77 degrees. I'm Carmen Angelo on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the bottom of the hour. Bulletins at once. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Welcome to Extra Innings on your home for Cleveland Indians baseball, WTAM 1100. To appear on Extras, Drennan.
Once again, coming your way from broadcast booth number 7 at Jacobs Field, where it'll never be the same in broadcast booth number 7 after a certain dadgummit coach from Columbus was sitting lodged in my chair here. And, you know, by the way, I survived the series without Bob Uecker attempting to throw me out of broadcast booth number 7. The guys were watching my backside pretty good. I think he wanted to. But after the tribute that I paid to him Monday night when I had a full show. All right, let's get you make your final point because you're starting to bore me.
Let me say this first. I just wrote out a check for my second quarter estimated taxes, and I subtracted out $100 for Charlie's dinner there at the White House. So I want to thank him again. You think?
Aren't you a Hillary fan?
Yeah.
Aren't you for her? But
I'm ready to
New
move to
York
New York
senator.
So
She's the next senator in the great state of New York.
I'm happy to move.
Screw 'em.
I'll move there on election day so I can vote her out. Hey, Bruce.
Once in a great while, you make a funny remark.
Bruce, look at the talent evaluation.
I got to go
Wait
now.
a second. Wait.
Go to bed.
Here's 2 points.
Tuck yourself
John
in.
Casey or Richie Sexton, who would you have rather dealt? We made a nice decision there, didn't we?
Yeah, well, you didn't have a
Who would you
crystal
rather
ball.
have?
either.
Jared
You
Wright
didn't
or
have a
Pedro
crystal ball.
Jared Wright or Pedro Martinez? It's not a crystal ball, it's talent evaluation. Doesn't seem like we have it.
I have P.J. Martinez on my fantasy team.
That'll do us a lot of good come October here, huh?
Well, it puts more cash in my pocket, though,
Well, maybe you can
to help pay for Nagy's trip to Washington.
maybe you can lend some of it to John Hart so they can hire me on to give a little bit of advice down there in that dugout.
All right, go to bed. Goodbye. Let's go to Jack and Menor. You're on WTAM 1100. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I was going to say, I'm going to write a letter to drop interleague play. I do not like interleague play, my father and I.
What's that, Jack?
I do not like interleague play.
Oh, I don't like it either. I do not like it either. Who cares that the Minnesota Twins are playing the St. Louis Cardinals? Unbelievable. Who cares that the Chicago Cubs are playing the Detroit Tigers? It stinks. I'm not for it at all. I mean, the only place it's benefiting is New York. Not even in Chicago, to tell you the truth, because the White Sox fan base is so depleted. And I don't even think that much out in L.A., to tell you the truth. Certainly Oakland doesn't have the support that the Giants do, not that they're storming the gates of old candlesticks. So I'm not for it either, Jack.
You should drop it, I think. I'll write a letter to write a letter to the other and drop interleague play in the American League and National League. I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like the umpiring call either.
Well, tonight I give this umpiring crew credit. I thought they called a pretty good game. Kosk last night behind the plate was really, some of his calls, at least he was making bad ones for Milwaukee as well as for the Indians.
But we need some pitching, Bartolo blew it tonight, and we need pitching. We'll win the series in the division if we trade for a pitcher.
Yeah, we certainly do. You're right again, Jack. I thank you for the call. I got to move.
Who do you think we'll get?
Well, you know who I want to get, but whether it's feasible that we can get Schilling, more and more I think that he's an untouchable. But as far as any possibility of Mussina, I talked to John Hart a couple of days ago. I asked him the question about if Baltimore would be willing to part with Mussina because they're buried in last place. He said that he had a conversation with Wren 3 weeks ago, and that they are talking about adding players, thinking they can still contend. I don't know what they've been smoking, but it's exactly 10 minutes after 12 midnight, so let me deliver the Channel 3 forecast. We've got an overnight low anticipated of 71 degrees, possibly an isolated thunderstorm. More of the same coming our way tomorrow. Scattered thunderstorms, high of 88, and currently I've got 77 degrees from the big one, WTAM 1100.
Extra Innings is brought to you by Public Auto
Smokehouse, the Cleveland company satisfying the world's taste buds.
The message is morality.
I uphold traditional values. That in of itself makes me judgmental, mean, and hurtful.
The messenger is Dr. Laura. Weekday mornings at 9 on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Extra Innings with Bruce Drennan on the Big One. News Radio WTAM 1100.
Indians open up a weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds starting tomorrow night. Of course, you'll hear all the action here in the flagship home of Tribe Baseball. Here's your rotation. Steve Paris in Game 1 for them against Doc Gooden. Then it'll be Pete Harnish. He's good. He'll be up against Charles Nagy on Saturday night. And then the finale on Sunday afternoon, Steve Avery against Dave Burba. Back to the phone lines we go. AJ from a car phone. You're on the air, AJ. How you doing?
Hey, Bruce. How you doing, buddy?
All right.
Hey, the thing that gets me is I'm not gonna complain about the Indians. I'm gonna complain about some of these idiots, self-proclaimed baseball players that are complaining about the Indians, and more so the human rain delay. Okay, first of all, the first person they always bust on is Grover.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the longest acting coaches that's coaching now. He makes judgment. If he makes a good one, he's a hero. If he makes a bad one, he's an idiot.
He doesn't even get credit when he makes a good call.
Yeah, and I don't understand this. He's one of the winning. He is the winningest active coach there is.
Manager, right?
Manager. I'm sorry. And the other thing too is when Jim Thome is great, he's like the saint of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's sore, and I think something has to do with his body. And the other thing too is Travis Fryman. Give me a break. This guy's a possible Golden Glover. If not, he should have been.
Let me interrupt you. I said this earlier. I'll say it again. I'm very, 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 very worried about Travis Fryman's back problem. I say that because I saw him wrenched in pain bending over yesterday, and I'm very concerned about him. He's not going to play in Cincinnati because they've got synthetic turf, and that would be brutal on his lower back.
And I'm worried about the guy, too, because I like him. He's a class act.
I love him. You're darn right. He's the consummate professional ball
he
player.
Is. I love the way he talks about things. He's a team player.
Yes.
And he's, and if you look at, just to talk about certain people, Ditka, if you're a football player for...
What happened to him? Oh, his car phone cut off. Well, AJ, if you get a chance, call us back. You can finish your point. In the meantime, let's go to Jim in a car phone. You're on the air, Jim.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing tonight?
All right, considering we lost.
Yeah. Hey, first let me tell you that I really, really appreciate you staying on longer after the games. I'm usually driving home at midnight and have to listen to the Space Cadet. And whether we win or lose, it's still fun to listen to you talk about baseball.
I appreciate that. I'm very flattered by that kind of statement. Thank you, sir.
First of all, let me make a point. I'm going to probably be critical, but I'm a fan, and I don't know why people think if you're critical of what your team's doing, you're not a true fan. I watch them every night. I spend as much time as I can following them, and I feel like an emotional tie to it. So yeah, I'm going to be upset and I'm going to be happy when they win. But what's going on with them at home?
Yeah.
It seemed, granted, Milwaukee, and we had a lot of people out of the lineup for this series, but it seems like they just aren't getting up for the home games. And you're selling out the stadium all the time. They're the Cleveland Indians, and do they realize how good they are?
Yeah, I was figuring it out. Have we lost 10 of our last 18 games overall?
I'm not sure, but
I think we have. I'm going to have Dan check that out, buddy.
Yeah, as a fan who can't get tickets, I mean, I try to get tickets every year, And every now and then somebody will throw me a bone, and I'll be able to go. But if I was at the game and I saw them playing the way they sometimes do, it doesn't seem like they're up for it all the time. I'd be upset. You know, they say you can't win every game. Well, you know what? I want them to win every game.
Sure.
And a lot of people think, well, it really doesn't matter. They're going to win their division. No, I like to watch a winning team.
I just had Dan double-check what I speculated. I was right. The Indians have lost 10 of their last 18 games. Yet we're still lodged in first place by a mile, and we still have the best record of any team in baseball.
Yeah,
and we're all crippled up. How about the fact that we have now played 57 ball games this year, and the Cleveland Indians, Hargrove has not had available to him his first-string lineup, but in only 4 of 57 games.
They said 5 today on the television, but
well, that's wrong.
Well,
that's wrong. It's 4. They're wrong on television. It's 4. That's a fact.
But let's look at this though. They have undoubtedly the greatest lineup in baseball. I believe that. And with the greatest lineup in baseball, if you take one person out of that lineup, I still think you should be winning a heck of a lot of ball games.
Well, here. Let me say this. Let's say Fryman and Tomey and Cordero were still in the lineup, okay?
All right.
The fact that Manny Ramirez is not in that lineup makes this far less than the imposing lineup that it is when he's in there. This series against Milwaukee has convinced me more than ever that we absolutely must re-sign this guy by hook or by crook. We have got to keep him in a Cleveland Indians uniform. We survived the loss of Albert Bell. I dare say I don't believe we can do it again with the loss of this Manny Ramirez. And it's a totally different situation. Albert Bell was not a team guy. It's exemplified what he did just yesterday in Baltimore. Did you hear about what he did yesterday?
Yeah, I heard. I heard the MFs or something like that.
Right. He was pulled out of a game by his manager, Ray Miller, for not running out a grounder or a pop-up, whatever it was. And he goes into the dugout, and he goes nose-to-nose, face-to-face with the manager and starts cussing him out. Yeah. And so, you know, the difference is Manny Ramirez, okay, so what if he doesn't talk to us in the media? The fact is he's not a troublemaker. He's not a dissension factor in the clubhouse, quite the contrary. And to me, we already know, even though he had problems when he first broke in, he's worked hard at his defense. He's much better defensively than Albert Bell, and offensively, I mean, his stats speak for himself. This series against Milwaukee, with him serving his suspension, proves we cannot afford to lose Manny Ramirez.
You're right, and he's improved in all areas, but you know where you really notice it is the first 3 batters. Those 3 guys you can tell are missing Manny Ramirez in there.
Right.
The rest of the lineup pretty much is about the same as they always are. You
right.
Get it here and there. But if you're missing those 3, those top 4 guys are in the top 8, if I saw it right, were 4 of the top 8 batters in the American League.
Exactly.
If you get 3 of them down without Manny Ramirez, you ain't got anybody.
Exactly. Jim, I got to run, buddy.
All right, thanks, Bruce.
Thank you for the call. Time for 2020 Sports, so let's bring in WTAM 1100 Sports Director. Here once again is Mike Snyder. Did you hear what I said about Manny, Mike?
Yeah, Bruce, and I'd have to agree with you on that. Yeah, the lineup just has a whole different look to it without him.
Absolutely.
He is the core of that of the batting order, and you're right. If you take some solace in losing 2 or 3 to Milwaukee, consider that Manny wasn't there. That's a big piece. Of course, and Fryman hasn't played either. But Manny's, you're right. I mean, more you watch him, he's in his prime. He's not even in his prime yet.
Right, he hasn't even reached it yet. That's exactly right. And let me make this analogy too, Mike, before you do your update. I made a similar statement in '95, and I think it's even more evident with this '99 team. Opposing pitchers would strive to avoid Albert Bell being up in the clutch situation to defeat them at a key portion of the game. That's even more the case with this lineup with Ramirez, which enhances the rest of the lineup and makes them that much more lethal because they're all so good. If the pitchers do avoid having Ramirez come up in that clutch situation, somebody else in this lineup will sting you.
That's a good point. You're right. Yep.
And another factor, with the 1-2-3 setup guys up top of the lineup, I mean, look at how many times the cleanup man, Manny Ramirez, has got ducks on the pond with numerous opportunities.
You know, and that's something when you look at Ramirez. I know when Sosa was in town last week, and we were talking with him about Manny, and he made a great point that Manny could knock in 190 runs when you look at the guys that are hitting in front of him with Lofton and Omar and Robbie Alomar. Yeah, there's no question about it. It's going to be fun down in Cincinnati, Bruce. I know a lot of Indians fans will get down there, and we can look ahead because you really don't want to spend a lot of time on what happened last night at Jacobs Field. Tribe lost to the Brewers 15-9. Things did look good early. They were up 3-1, but then Milwaukee scored 6 in the fourth. Solo homer by David Nilsson, 3-run shot by Jeff Jenkins, and a 2-run blast by Mark Loretta. And it all added up to a 6-run frame. Milwaukee turned a 3-1 deficit into a 7-3 lead, and they were on. But still, they needed some insurance.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right center. Justice back at the wall. This ball is gone. A 3-run homer for Dave Nilsson to right center. His second home run tonight.
That made it a 12-3 game. The Indians did fight back as Jacob Cruz and Jeff Mano each hit home runs, but not enough for the Tribe. They lose at 15-9. How bad was the evening? Robbie Alomar committed his first error of the season. For the Tribe, now it's on to Cincy. The Reds and the Tribe begin their series tonight, 7:05, and of course you'll hear it right here on the big one. Doc Gooden will be on the mound for the good guys. Just one other game in Major League Baseball last night. Sterling Hitchcock outdealed Gil Heredia as San Diego beat Oakland by a score of 2-1. NHL Stanley Cup Finals Game 2. Dallas beat Buffalo 4-2. That series tied 1 aside. Prosecutors in Bloomington, Indiana are trying to determine whether to charge Indiana coach Bob Knight. There's an allegation he choked a man who accused him of making a racist remark while having dinner at a restaurant near Bloomington. Former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson's been granted permission to train in Arizona for a boxing match in Nevada. Looks like Iron Mike will be in the ring by the end of the summer. And in the WNBA opener, the Cleveland Rockers fell to the New York Liberty 87-60. Mike Snyder, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Okay, there's a tidbit of information. Mark Langston worked tonight, I assume it was at Buffalo. He went 6 2/3 innings. This is in his rehab. He gave up 1 earned run, only 2 base hits. He struck out 2. Sounds pretty good so far, huh? He walked 7. Ouch. Keep rehabbing, Mark. Dan from Olmsted Falls, you're on WTAM 1100. Hi, Dan. Hello, Dan. Are you there? Let's go to the long distance line. Long distance, where are you calling us from?
Hi.
Hello, long distance? I can't hear you.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling us from?
Kent.
Okay, go ahead, from Kent.
What we're talking about here is, Travis Fryman's back.
Yes, I'm really worried about it. Remember where you heard this first. I'm really worried about it. When I saw how much pain he was in bending over, this was yesterday I saw him. Man, I'm telling you, I'm worried about him. I'm worried that it's very serious. I don't know. I'm no doctor. I don't want, but I'm worried about him.
Yeah, well, I'm worried about him too. My idea is this. Let's put Tommy back over to third. Let Sexton play first for a while. I think he can do a little bit better job than Tommy at first. He's got the height. He's got the stretch. And what do you think?
Well, I don't think the Indians would get... Tommy's done such a marvelous job making the transition from third to first. I really compliment him on that. He had to work very hard. to ask him to go back to third. He's better defensively at first than he was at third. I would only do that in desperation. And what I mean by desperation is if Fryman is lost for the season, heaven forbid, oh God, heaven forbid. But that would only be done, in my opinion, in a desperation move. I don't anticipate, even with bad news about Fryman, that the Indians would do such a thing.
Okay, one other thing. Mark from Lyndhurst has got to put up a Stratomatic baseball game. He's playing with loaded dice.
Isn't that the truth?
I'm telling you, this guy does not know anything about managing a major league team, and I don't know.
He just likes to hear himself on the air, I think.
Evidently. Also, one last thing, and I'll get off the phone so you can take another caller. I lived down in Columbus for a year and a half, and I hate Cooper more than you. And the stupid Big Bear ads that he did on TV with the Big Bear hug.
Say that again?
He did the Big Bear, which is a grocery store down there.
Right.
And he used to do the commercial, and you go give you a Big Bear hug and all that. So he does those down there to earn a little extra money.
Uh-huh.
And I can't stand that guy.
Well,
I understand. Any team from Michigan, he can't do. When it comes to the big game, he always chokes.
Right.
We'll never see a national championship. We'll be close like we were this last year.
Right. Right.
Thank
you. Yeah, but I also hear that he owns Columbus now. I mean, he can do no wrong in Columbus. I mean, even with the fact he's lost to Michigan all these years and he's got such an atrocious record in the bowl games, he can still do no wrong. Is that not correct?
In some aspect, yeah, but there's more and more people that are seeing through that dark cloud that they're, the fog, if you will.
Right. Right.
And he's losing more and more of his credibility as a football coach down there, I believe, as he is up here. In the whole state of Ohio, I don't think he has the backing that he had when he did beat Michigan twice and tied him once. And
look, the only reason he was in Cleveland tonight is to throw out the first ball. They're doing their caravan, and so for recruiting purposes, he left after the Brewers hit in the top of the first. Didn't even stay to watch the Indians hit.
Yeah.
Kind of a baseball fan is that, and he was wearing an Indians hat. I knew we would lose. I saw it. I knew we would lose. It was destiny. I got to go, my friend.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. Stay in touch from Kent. Let's sneak Ron from Cleveland Heights in. Hi, Ron.
How you doing, Bruce?
All right, considering.
Are you pulling an all-nighter tonight?
Not quite, but close.
I enjoyed listening to a little rapport you had the other day with your wife on.
Oh, yeah, right. Anytime I get those full 4-hour shows, I want to make it as easy as possible for myself. So I just sat back and let her take the phone calls.
She did a fairly good job, I would say.
She better. I take her to Mexico every year. She's got to show appreciation for that.
I have to tell you, Bruce, even though you had to come all the way from Chicago to find a woman, you picked well.
I'll buy that. Very good.
I want to talk to you a little bit about interleague play.
Okay.
It's got its pluses, it's got its minuses, but I'll tell you, for me, it's got more minuses than pluses. I really believe that the Indians are any of the good teams look at these teams from the other league and say, this is like playing exhibition baseball in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's like spring training. And they don't take these games as seriously as they would if they were playing in their own division or in their own league.
Right. What is the attraction tomorrow with San Diego or Minnesota playing Milwaukee? What is the attraction of Tampa Bay playing Montreal? What is the attraction of Arizona playing Anaheim? What is the attraction of Colorado playing Texas? Who cares?
The beauty was with the other day when Montreal played the Red Sox, and Pedro Martinez comes home and gets shelled
by his former team.
Yeah, by his former team, exactly.
But you know what? I mean, now Chicago's going to play Chicago. I can understand New York and New York. But how about this? How about the fact that Montreal and Toronto played, and they drew 12,000 people?
It's pretty sad.
Right.
It
and
tells
how
you
about
exactly
the fact
where the Canadians are head is at.
and listen, don't even let's not be prejudiced toward the Canadians. How about the fact
Well,
that,
who else are they going to draw there?
Well, how about the fact that Tampa Bay was hosting the Florida Marlins and they drew 14,000? I mean, that's sad.
That's the primary reason that Mr. Huizenga is no longer an owner. But I would much prefer to see things the way they used to be 4 years ago, and not have this interleague play, and let the rubber meet the road in the World Series.
Interleague play is preventing us from seeing the New York Yankees in Jacobs Field until deep into September, when the Indians and the Yankees will have already clinched playoff berths.
That's because we can't draw any more people into that ballpark than we currently have going there now.
Mm-hmm.
If we were struggling, believe me, we'd see the Yankees when we could draw more people in. But we can't do that. We're already sold out through the end of the year.
But the point, the schedule makers are they're handcuffed because of interleague play having to squeeze these series in a certain month.
Well, we played New York, and we're going to go back to New York before they ever come to Cleveland.
Isn't that? Yeah, I know. That's horrible.
Is that the schedule maker? No, they could come here in the middle of July.
Right.
We could have played there in September. But that's
I'm against it. And
we're
if the League, and if this renegade League gets his way, he wants to drastically realign the entire major leagues and still have the audacity to call it the American and the National Leagues.
Well, he did realign when he put Milwaukee in the National League.
Yeah, that's his own franchise, his old franchise, which he owned for years. That isn't bothered, but I mean radical realignment, like he would, like he advocates. It ruins the tradition and the history of baseball. Throw out all your records; they're not worth a thing anymore.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but they may look at the NFL and say, the NFL's done something right. And by the way,
have they? Have they done something right? Explain to me how Dallas is in the East. Explain to me how Atlanta and New Orleans are in the West.
Time out, Bruce. Time out. There's going to be a 30-second franchise, and it's going to be located in L.A. That's a fact. That's going to happen. They need that market. When they get that 30-second franchise, you're going to see 2 leagues of 16 teams in either league. You're going to see 4 divisions of 4 teams each, and 4-team division championships instead of a wild card, and 3 division champions will play at the end of the year.
I don't doubt that. However, don't be surprised if Houston gets a franchise before Los Angeles. I mean, those people in L.A. obviously could care less. And the NFL certainly doesn't seem to be pushing a panic button that they've gone through these last few seasons without a franchise in the second largest market in the United States. My friend, I've got to go. I'm really up against it.
I'll say one more thing. The TV contract's not going to run forever.
Yeah, well, that's true. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Mike Snyder once again for one more look at 2020 sports. Here's Mike.
What is this, the Trevisano show?
What?
Whoa. What time is it here?
It's exactly quarter to 1.
Okay, I was just wondering what time 2020 sports was.
What are you trying to get on my nerves tonight? It's not bad enough that Cooper was in my booth, in my chair, and we've had to sterilize it. Jerry J had all kinds of sprays and everything.
Did he really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I was doing a play-by-play live, except he was putting most of the spray on my body instead of the chair where Cooper sat.
All right, Bruce. All right. I'm going to let you go because you got 15 minutes to go.
All right, thank you.
All right, tough game for the Tribe tonight. It's tough night all over. Tough for Drennan, tough for the Tribe. Boy, things did look good early. Indians led this game 3-1, but everything turned around in the 4th inning.
The 1-1 pitch. And there's a ball driven down the left field line. If it stays fair, it is gone. They call it a home run as it hit above the line, and Bartolo Colon has given up 3 home runs in this ball game.
Yes, he did, and that turned it all around. The Indians did actually battle back, but David Nilsson, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 15-9 the final. Milwaukee beat the Indians tonight, so the Tribe loses 2 of 3 to the Brew Crew. How bad was it? Well, Bartolo Colon just never could get on
It
track.
was just one of those nights for Bart. I mean, Bart has been better. Bart's been better. He wasn't. We didn't see Bartolo at his best tonight, but those things happen.
Hideo Nomo got the win to go to 3-1, but he wasn't all that good. He gave up 5 runs on 8 hits over 7 innings. Now, how bad did it get for the Tribe? Dave Stevens, who came on in relief of Bartolo, he actually took ill during the game.
I think he's got a chew the back end. I think one went down the wrong pipe, and he kind of tossed his cookies there for a little bit. Yeah, he did. I was watching him when I turned the film. I said, "Did he just puke?" Yeah, he did, right behind the mound.
Yeah, well, that's the way it went for the Tribe tonight. Maybe that soundbite says it all. Colon has not won a game since May 17th, allowing 29 runs over his last 35 innings. That error by Robbie Alomar, his first in a stretch of 65 games, dating back to September 18th. Of last season. Indians did get 3 home runs. Richie Sexton, his third in just the last 2 games. And Jacob Cruz and Jeff Mano also went deep. 15-9, Milwaukee wins it. Indians open a 3-game series in Cincinnati against the Reds tonight, 7:05 game time. And you'll hear it right here on the big one. Just one other game in the majors last night. Padres beat the A's 2-1. Sterling Hitchcock pushed his record to 4-5 on the year. NHL Stanley Cup Finals, Game 2 in Dallas. The home team won. Dallas beat Buffalo 4-2. That levels that series at 1 game apiece. WNBA opener, New York Liberty beat the Cleveland Rockers by a score of 87-60. Clem Haskins' days as Minnesota's head basketball coach appear to be numbered. The university is negotiating a buyout of his contract amid allegations of academic fraud involving the program. Mike Tyson may begin training again in Arizona, and looks like he'll fight again in Nevada sometime this summer. And the Browns will begin their final mini camp before beginning regular season training camp in July. The Browns will do that later this morning. Mike Snyder, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Where's the coolest place to meet for lunch?
If you cook it, they will come.
Friday lunch parties are back at the Davy Tree Backyard in Jacobs Field.
This field, this game, it reminds us of all that once was good.
Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1:30. Concessions are open with all your ballpark favorites. Or you can bring your own lunch to enjoy while basking in the midst of the magic of Jacobs Field.
Hey, is this heaven?
Friday lunch parties at the Davy Tree Backyard. Join us for prizes and lunch in the sun.
People will most definitely come.
From the Cleveland Indians and WTAM 1100. Extra Innings with Bruce Drennan on the Big One. News Radio WTAM 1100.
Well, winding down extra innings, and extra innings would not be complete unless I delivered with Drennan's notes of the game. So here we go. Tonight the Indians were defeated 15-9 by Milwaukee. They take 2 out of 3 in the series. And the Tribe has lost 10 of their last 18 games. Here we go. Top of the first inning, 1-out liner by Belliard to right center field. Great catch by Kenny Lofton. Bottom of the first, after 2 were out, Nomo walks 2, gives up an infield single. Tomey up with the bags juiced and gets caught looking. The pitches that Tomey was swinging at, he was missing by a mile. I'm concerned. Batting average has dipped into the 240s now. Top of the second inning, after striking out Nilsson to lead off, Colon, I'm listening to Danny and Mayfield. Bartolo Colon gives up 3 singles in a row, accounting for Milwaukee's first run. Bottom of the second, Tribe gets back-to-back singles after 1 was out. Lofton strikes out, and Cruz gets nailed at third, trying to steal for an inning-ending double play. Bottom of the third inning, Robbie gets a 1-out walk, then Justice follows with a single. First and second, 1 gone for Richie Sexton. Richie follows with a monstrous home run to left field bleachers. Good going, Richie. Swinging a good bat after that long 0-4-24 skid was broken up last night. Top of the fourth inning, solo shot home run by Nilsson to lead off. 3-2 Cleveland. Grissom then singles, and Barry hits a hard grounder to Mano, who fired to Robbie for the force out, but Alomar, the reason I stumbled, I was so astonished to see Alomar actually commit an error. He dropped the ball. That was the first error that Robbie has committed this season, and that snapped a 65-game errorless streak for Robbie Alomar. Yes, indeed, he is human. Alertly on that play, Grissom, former Indian, advanced to third when the ball got away from Robbie. Then Jenkins makes the Tribe pay with a 3-run homer to right. That hurt. Made the score 5-3 Milwaukee. Walk to Ochoa, followed by a home run to left by Loretta. Then Colon gives up a single to Belliard, and Grover has no choice but to relieve him with Stevens. Top of the 5th, 1-out walk to Grissom. He stole second and then advanced to third on a bad throw. Scores on a double by Ochoa, followed by a sac fly by Loretta, made it 9-3 Milwaukee. Top of the 6th, Nilsson hits a 3-run home run to right center field. It was 12-3. Bottom of the 7th, back-to-back singles to lead off the frame by Diaz and Lofton. Diaz advances to third on a fly to center field, and Lofton steals second. Ducks on the pond for Enrique Wilson, who singles in the Tribe's 4th run. Justice drives in the Indians' 5th run on a ground ball to short. Bottom of the 8th, Jacob Cruz hits a 2-run home run to make it 12-7. Omar doubles home the Tribe's 8th run off left field wall. Looked like a homer to me. Replay made it look very, very close. I thought it hit the railing above the yellow line. Grover didn't argue that long. Must have been the right call by Kosk. Then Wilson gets an infield single, 1st and 3rd for Justice, but they get out of the inning. Top of the 9th inning. Brewers really, they rally to load the bases and then get a clutch hit by Cirillo, scoring 2. Burnitz then drives in another run on a ground out. Bottom of the 9th, 2-out home run by Jeff Mantle. Final score 15-9 in favor of the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, we were going to give you some comments by Robbie Alomar. Looking forward to a series against the Cincinnati Reds, which begins tomorrow night. Time will not allow. Tomorrow night, you'll hear all the action right here on the big one. Doc Gooden against Steve Paris. We'll be with you following the game on Extra Innings from our downtown studios at WTAM 1100. Check out Wills Webster Coleman tomorrow morning. Wills will then be taking off for a 2-week vacation. And stay tuned for the Space Cadet. He's next. Art Bell on the big one. You won't want to miss it. I understand he's going to talk about what the menu is on Hailbach.